do this. Hello there, I'm Scotty. You're not, and welcome to this next video. We're gonna talk about season 2 of Heroes. I told you it wasn't that long. 11 episodes. That's it. 11. It was a short season. Why? Well, we'll get to that. But yes. So, little production notes. From what I can remember, looking up before, apparently, supposedly, they had thought of making Heroes an anthology show. Each season will follow a new group of people with special abilities. They nixed that because the characters from the first season were so well loved, so they brought them back. I'm thinking that they probably made that decision during the production of season 1, because the end of season 1 has cliffhangers such as Hiro being in feudal Japan and Sylar getting away. So you have to think that if they made that decision to nix the anthology idea, it would have been before that, since those scenes were in there. Put this down here. Yeah. Also, originally, season 2 was going to have 3 different volumes: Generations, Exodus, and Villains. Exodus was nixed. It's a weird thing to hold up. Was nixed due to people complaining about the pacing in the first season, which was one of my points, because it felt like that the whole save the world thing was supposed to be the climax. You get there, it happens, and then, oh no, we still have more stuff to do. So they got away, and there's like 10 more episodes left. Okay. Yeah. And when all the commercials have to save each other, save the world, and that's not the finale, again, much like what they do in season 3, you could split it into 2. Maybe Genesis ends with that, and we go to the next one. I don't know. Although Generations would have made sense for the rest of that. I don't know. So they nixed the date. So they nixed Exodus. I did the middle because it's the middle one. And moved Villains to season 3 because there was something we just had last year, a writer's strike. Yep, a writer's strike, which also shortened the length of episodes from what would be a regular sized season to 11 episodes. On a positive note, the pacing for this season is great. I mean, it just trudges along. It just goes along, and you're at the beginning, at the end, and it works. That's great. It's like one of the regular seasons now. We have 10 episodes. Most of the time, the pacing works, right? If they're not, putting another show's stuff in your show. Yeah. Although the pacing of Book of Boba Fett wasn't that good till the Mandalorian stuff popped in, but, or be it for me. Yes, the story picks up 4 months after the events of season 1's finale, with the episode aptly titled 4 Months Later. It works. And at this point, Hiro is stuck in feudal Japan. We know that much. Claire and Bennett, I gotta call them Bennett. Claire and Bennett and their family have moved from Texas, because their house had burned it down, thank you, Ted, to Costa Verde, California, where Claire is going to start a new school. She meets a new boyfriend. One of the new recurring characters that wouldn't mean much later on, that being West, played by Nicholas D'Agosto. You may know from Fired Up. How do you spell Fired Up? F-U. No, I don't think that's right. Or Final Destination 5. Yeah. He's like, well, he can fly because they ran out of new powers apparently. And of course, he finds out about her regenerative ability because she cuts her pinky toe off because they do a school class about lizards, how they can regrow limbs. It's like I've seen Spider-Man. I know how that works, but yeah. So she cuts off her toe, it grows back, and he sees it. And whole thing, and then she's got to keep it away from Noah finding out, and yeah. Parkman and Suresh now are taking care of Molly themselves, and are also teaming with Bennett to try to take down the company, which is now run by a guy named Bob, because that's a villain, Bob. He's played by Stephen Tobolowsky, and he's Stephen Tobolowsky. That's exactly who it is. If you want Stephen Tobolowsky, you got him. That's him. His daughter Elle is also Daryl, though she's not introduced till like episode 2 or 3. Nikki and Micah are... So Nikki is sending Micah to New Orleans because Nikki is having issues with her powers and has to go seek help, which ends up being the company. And while in New Orleans, we're introduced to Micah's cousin, Monica. I don't remember the actress's name. I'm sorry. She has a pretty decent ability that gets wasted because she's not in this season, in the show past this season. She has a mimic ability. Whatever she sees, she can mimic. Like, she sees someone cutting tomatoes and make it look like a rose. She sees Rey Mysterio do the 619. She does that, you know? And so, yeah. Her involvement becomes inconsequential. She does not meet any of the other heroes except for Nikki, of course. And her story is really only there because they want something for Micah to do. If you took out everything with Micah in New Orleans, it wouldn't matter a damn thing except for how Nikki's story turns out. Nikki also gets shafted this season. It's clear that everything with Nikki and Micah and all of them were all in season 1, and now they're like, oh, we don't have anything for them. So Nikki's story is that she's lost her powers and is trying to get them back. Yes, the bulk of the story now is about the Shanti virus, which is, I don't know if I mentioned this. Mohinder found out in season 1 that he had a sister named Shanti who had contracted a virus and died from it. That also means that she had powers, well, Mohinder does not. So now this Shanti virus is coming back. People are getting it. Find out that Nikki has it because the company injected her with it. So that means that at some point last season she was injected, or maybe it was before, I don't know. At some point she started going. We'll get to that. But Mohinder starts working with the company at the behest of Bennett to try to sneak in and, do that. Meanwhile, in Mexico, we meet Maya and her brother Alejandro, who are on the run due to something with Maya's powers. And again, this does also feel like, we're running out of stuff, because Maya's power is just getting black goo eyes and killing everyone with this power. Everyone just dies. Black goo comes out of the eyes, and yeah. What kind of power is that? It's like, Sylar killed all the people with the cool powers, so we have to give someone else this power. Speaking of Sylar, he's also still alive, as we know, and being held by the former Candace, now Michelle. Candace Michelle. Let me show you how to move your body. I can't believe I remember that song. I almost did holla, but show you how to move your body. Go, Daddy. Yeah, I have an issue, though. He kills Candace, and she reverts back to her, or Michelle, reverts back to her normal form, which is a fat chick, a fat woman. And I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense, because if that was her true form, then when Nikki knocked her out in season 1, she would have reverted back to that, but she reverted back to Candace. That makes no sense to me. So he's being held in a company facility. He gets out and connects with Maya and Alejandro. He eventually kills Alejandro because they are on the way to America to meet, to find Mohinder. Of course, that's where he's going because he also has the Shanti virus and he has no powers. Because you gotta nerf him, or they get where they were going faster, or they'd figure out he was bad faster. It works, I guess. Nathan is also alive and not burned. How, you may wonder? Well, we can't reveal that yet, but he's alive and fine, and he believes that Peter is dead. Meanwhile, in feudal Japan, well, he is also working with Matt Parkman at one time too. Meanwhile, in feudal Japan, Hiro meets his hero, Takeso Kensei, and he's a gaijin. That means basically white man, but basically white boy. Like I said when I first watched Tokyo Drift, he goes gaijin, and I'm like, he basically just called him a white boy, didn't he? Means outsider, but still. Yeah. He's played by David Anders, who is not British, but most of the characters he plays are. He's also an alumni of Alias, just like Greg Grunberg, and where he played Sark. Yeah. I think that's his name. Yes. And wouldn't you know, he ends up being the bad guy. Yeah. See, when Hiro finds him, he's a drunk and just kind of sloshing around, but Hiro wants to turn him into the hero he knows he is. But it turns out he's not even the right Kensei. I'm just going to say Kensei. Because, as revealed, it's actually Hiro who's doing all these things that are told. And they even sort of walk around the changing of history a little bit, because some things are changed. Like, you're supposed to save a village because of Hiro's interference. He's not able to. And they even don't defeat the White Wizard. However, because Kensei turns on them. Because Kensei has fallen in love with the princess, but so did Hiro, and the princess kissed Hiro, and so now he's pissed, and he turned on them. They're able to defeat him and supposedly kill him, but he has healing ability. Like Claire, but like worse. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it would be to trim the head or cut off his head or something, but which I don't know if that would work with Claire, because like later someone gets shot in the head and or blood gets injected into them, and it regenerates even an eyeball. So I don't know. Hiro's story in Japan ends with him saying goodbye, and this is the workaround for that. Is she said that she will write the stories the young Hiro would read. So he may have changed history, but the stories will still be the same. She's gonna write about saving the village and everything, and defeating the White Wizard. Even though it didn't actually happen that way because of Hiro's interference, Hiro will still read it as it happened that way. You see what I mean? So it doesn't really affect the timeline because Hiro will still read those stories. Yeah. By the way, Peter is also alive. Yep. At the end of the first episode, we see someone go into a shipping container, and it's revealed that Peter is in there with no memories. I wonder how he lost his memories. Could a certain Haitian be involved? I don't know. But he ends up in Ireland. Having a corned beef and cabbage. There is a mention of haggis, and when Elle shows up, Kristen Bell's character, she's like, "Do you have haggis?" He goes, "No, that's Scotland." We got stew. Lots of stew. But yeah, we get Holt McCallany, whatever his name is. If you saw him, oh, that guy. And we're introduced to Caitlin. One of the most frustrating characters. Not because of how she's portrayed. She's done well. She's set up as a love interest for Peter. And Peter has no memory, so he uses his powers. Doesn't know how he's doing it. He's just doing it. It's happening. At one point, I'm gonna skip over some of the stuff that's there because it's really just like he helps with a heist. The guy from Star Trek Enterprise turns on them. He was also in Jungle to Jungle. He was the photographer guy. The guy, yeah, that guy. You know what I'm talking about. But none of that's really needed. What is needed is that eventually Peter accidentally time travels to the future. A year into the future with Caitlin. And in this future, the Shanti virus has been released and is killing off almost everyone. Nathan's dead. Angela's not Peter's mom is not dead because they take a freaking. She's like a cockroach. She'll always keep coming back. But yeah, they're all gone. And so Peter's told us information, and then his powers send him back. Yeah. And he leaves Caitlin behind. And that's where I have the problem. Caitlin is left behind in an apocalyptic future where the virus is unleashed. Now, Peter claims he doesn't know how to go back, even when he gets his memory back. But yeah. So now he's on a mission with Adam. I'll explain how he knows that. With Adam Monroe. Who's Adam Monroe? Well, I will tell you in a minute. To, quote unquote, stop the virus. Yeah, we'll get there. So, what I failed to mention is that each member of this company, which are like the parents of people, you got Angelo Petrelli, we had Kaito Nakamura, he dies in the first episode. Poor Ando was there to see him die. Lindemann, Charles DeVoe, and then we find out there's a woman named Victoria. Bob is one of them. And Parkman's dad, Maury, is also a member of the group. And this mysterious Adam Monroe, who's not in the picture. I also find it weird that there are flashbacks to when this Victoria leaves and they are all young. She's like, I'm done. But this picture is of the current actors in their current ages. I don't know. But they all got together for a group photo take pictures. Also, Peter and Nathan's father is in the picture, same by some body double actor guy. I don't know who it is, but he will later be played by Robert Forster in season 3. May he rest in peace. I'm not telling you how he's played, or where. I'm just saying that we do see. You may assume flashbacks. Sure, go ahead, do that. Yeah, so we get much like in season 1, we get 2 episodes. One's a flash forward, one's a flashback. I mentioned the flash forward already. There's a flashback one called 4 months ago. Appropriate enough, and we find out what happened. I didn't mention DL because he died. You may think, oh, he succumbed to his wound at the end of season 1. No, but that would have made more sense. And in my head, I thought he died in a fire. Well, he becomes a firefighter. He goes into the fire and survives. And I went, wait, well, I thought he died in that. No. And one of the dumbest things that they do, Nikki gets another multiple personality named Gina and goes to Los Angeles. He follows her there and pisses off the guy that she was flirting with. As they go to leave, the guy just shoots him. Now, there were reports that Leonard Roberts and Ali Lauder did not get along. And so maybe she politicked for him to get kicked off. Who knows? But to write him off like that, why did... I get it, they had to show us something in doing the flashback episode. If we're writing a flashback episode, we have to show something of how he died. Why couldn't it just be they're at the funeral and she gets another thing, and I don't know. Somebody has to go after her, I guess, right? If they're gonna do that. But yeah, and then that's when she goes to get help from the company, who ended up injecting her with that Shanti virus to get rid of the powers, and then yeah. So keep in mind she doesn't have any powers. Also in here we find out that when the explosion happened, Peter survived, but does not have that fancy scar on his face from the future, where it was implied that he got that from exploding, but he doesn't get the scar on his face, he's just fine. And he takes Nathan to the hospital, and Nathan's all burned up. Yeah, he's all scarred, which we do sort of see when he looks in the mirror and he sees the reflection of a scarred face, and he kind of punches it. Yeah. But here's what we get the, explanation of that. He's burned to a crisp. And he's taken by Bob and Elle, the company, and they claim he's helping him, but then he has a conversation with Adam Monroe, who is revealed to be Kensei. Yep, he's immortal and can't die, so now he goes by the name of Adam Monroe. Yep. And they really zoom on the suit. They got the go through the thing, they close in on him, they got the on this music, and like, look, da, 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 it's him. He's Adam Monroe. Yup. That's good. So, yeah, he convinces Peter that he's trying to destroy this virus and he needs Peter's help. And so Peter stops taking the meds that he's on and is able to use his powers to escape. He can walk through walls. Remember that. Adam knows he can walk through walls. It'll be important later, trust me. So he rescues Adam, they get out, and then he's chased to the dock by Elle. Or he's chased out by Elle, found by Renee, the Haitian, chained to the shipping container, and has his memory erased, and he's sent to Ireland. That's where that came from. He spent almost 4 months in there, right? And we also find out that Maja, I say it like that because that's how Alejandro says it, and I like how he says it. Maja. And the reason that they're on the run is because she was at her brother's wedding. The brother was getting married to this woman who was then getting railed by some dude in the back while they're supposed to be celebrating the wedding, having the what you call I don't know what it's called. The after party, I guess you could say. And that's when her powers activate, and everybody dies except for Alejandro, and it's shown that Alejandro's the only one that can calm her down until later, where Siler helps her control it. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the flashback episode, basically. I also need to mention that Molly Walker, she's having nightmares of the Nightmare Man, which is revealed to be, and you think, oh, this is the new big villain, right? This is the big villain, bad guy. No, it's basically a throwaway. It's revealed to be Parkman's father. Yeah. I don't know why he'd be meddling in a little girl's mind. He said something about she's trying to find me. Like, well, she's looking for everyone. Like, I don't know. We know that Adam is killing everyone off, so maybe he thought she was looking for him. I don't know. But they do find him, and he does sort of trap them in their own little nightmares. And then Parkman is able to up his powers and trap them. And really, Parkman's the only one that keeps the power from their parents. Simone didn't have a power. It's not even known if Kaito had a power. He just was there. I don't remember if he had any powers. I think in flashbacks we find out the mom did. So maybe that's where he got it from. I don't know. But like, Claire's power is different from Nathan's and her mom's, her birth mom's. her birth mom, I didn't mention her in the first season, but she is involved. They do find her. She has fire powers. Nason is Flying Man! So, yeah, it doesn't really work. We do find out in season 3, I'll just go and spoil it now, Angela's the one that has the dreams. And Peter has those, but he could just be empathizing them, taking them that way. So not really. I don't remember what the dad's power was. He has something. I remembered, but I'm not gonna say. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, so yeah. So it's all time to converge. So as mentioned, a character gets shot and healed with Claire's blood. This is Bennett. Bennett eventually he has a hostage situation. Okay, so he's first against Claire having a boyfriend, and then uses him to have his help. It's revealed that West was also taken in by the company when he was like 11 or something. Which abducting a child, that's abducting adults is one thing. Abducting a child, I don't know. And so he's like gets pissed at Claire when he finds out that Noah is her dad, and so he's like, "Were you following me? Were you not? No, you shouldn't do this. You just dare, you know." Also, Renee gets very little screen time. He's in the flashback. He shows up to help Noah at the beginning of the season. He's freed by Parkman and them, and he goes free, and he connected, and then they go to Odessa in the Ukraine. Bennett kills his mentor, and we don't see Renee again for the rest of the season. He could have come in handy quite a bit, right? Because I thought of this when I went to work, because the whole thing with West happens before I went to work. So here's what the idea is. So Bob sends his own daughter to kidnap his own daughter with Mohinder to distract Bennett while he goes and kidnaps Claire. This works, but the idiot didn't think about that Bennett could do the same thing. So Bennett knocks out Suresh, kidnaps Elle, and yeah. And so uses her as bait to lure Bob so they can switch. And they do, and then West flies her away, and Mohinder shoots Bennett right in the eye, which was that even after Mr. Isaac died, they're still looking over his. He still has other paintings, you know, because Simone took a bunch of them, right? Linderman had a bunch in his possession, so there are still some out there. So they found a way to work around that too, huh? But yeah, so use that, and he sees Mohinder with a bandage on his nose, like he's Booker T in 1995, and then he sees the one. So he sees the painting of himself with the gunshot in the eye, and someone is holding Claire. So he thinks her boyfriend's going to cause it, but looks like he's actually an ally. After this, Claire resolves to blow the whistle on everything. West is, of course, against this, but I'm like, why don't you just give him his file? She does. I forgot that. And, yeah. So, but then Bennett is healed by Claire's blood. See, the reason they wanted Claire's blood is because they had a cure for the original strain of the virus. It's going to sound familiar. But it mutated. There's another strain of the virus that the company are injecting is a different strain. 138. So, which I think it's that strain. It's another strain. Only Claire's blood can heal it. So, they needed her blood. Yeah. There it is. Mohinder then tells Nikki he has the cure and he's going to bring it to her. But then Sylar shows up. Yep, Sylar shows up. No, also, I forgot to mention, Bennett also convinces Claire not to go through with it. To the end of their story. And he has to go back, so he goes back. I love the homage to The Great Escape where he's throwing the ball. Elle's talking to him. You know, he's trying to convince her that Bob was basically torturing her to see how much electricity she had. Those people are not good. You know. So, once they get into Mohinder's place, it's like, she makes chilaquiles, whatever, and we have to go to my lab. So he tests Sylar to see what kind of strain he has. He was also injected, obviously, with the virus by the company. And so they go to his lab, which is Mr. Isak's. I'm going to keep calling him that, by the way. Mr. Isak's loft is his lab now. They use that for a lot. In the future, it was a place where they had all the Time-Light things strung out. But, yeah, so Mohinder cures him, but not before. No, he doesn't cure him yet. So he says he's going to cure him, but then it's all found out. Everything is found out. Maya finds out that Sylar killed Alejandro, so she goes nuts. I do like his response. She's like, "You killed my brother," and he's like, shoots her, and then has to use Claire's blood to heal her. He takes the whole container and leaves, which is the end there, and she does get healed. But now we get to the finale part, as Adam and Peter enter the Odessa paper facility. Yes, we're back there again. Time freezes, except for Peter. Doesn't affect him, I guess. And Hero is there. Hero says he needs to kill Adam Monroe. He needs to kill Adam to stop him releasing the virus. Peter says, no, we're trying to stop the virus. And they fight it out, but the Hero's gotten better. He teleports, you know. Parkman and Nathan arrive, with Parkman flying on Nathan's back. Let's not talk about that ever again. Agreed. They get there, and basically it's Nathan who talks Peter out of it. But Adam gets to the vial, and Hero can't bring himself to kill him, so he teleports him out of there. Peter is able to jump in and grab the thing. Why didn't you use telekinesis before it crashes? And he uses the Ted's break radioactive thing to destroy it. Right? And everything is fine. So what do we do now? They need to expose the company. So they're going to do what Claire was going to do. Yup. We literally are retreading something we just did 5 minutes ago. But this is it. Matt's going to use his power to make sure everyone listens to him. And Nathan gets up on the stage and he's about to reveal he has the power to fly. And then, gunshots. He falls down. Peter's looking out. We see someone walking away. And then we get the scene that doesn't make any sense, considering what we find out, of Angela on the phone going, "You opened up Pandora's box. You know that, right?" I don't remember if that gets explained, because in this context, it makes no sense knowing when you're me and have seen season 3 and you know who did it, that phone call makes no sense. Yeah. And then we end with Sylar injecting himself in getting his powers back, it says, Volume 3, Villains. And you got, I'm back. And I love the nod to Popeye with him moving a can of spinach. Yep. Strangely enough, that was not the original ending. No, there's an alternate ending on the DVD where the virus does fall. Which again, Peter doesn't get there in time. The virus falls, it lands, it starts to spread everywhere, and Nathan is one of the first victims. He's making in this version he's held in the press conference to tell about the virus when he collapses. We still get the other side stuff like Maya being revived, and Angela saying you open Pandora's box. Again, with that context, who is she talking to? Because there is no shooter this time, and I don't know who she's talking to. You can assume maybe they would have cut to Peter calling her. I don't know. And then Siler getting these powers, and it still says villains. So they were still going into villains. I don't know how that would have worked with the virus, but yeah. There's one more thing we need to discuss though, before I go into my final ending topic. Caitlin. She's completely forgotten about. She's not even mentioned after this season. Peter makes this big deal about how he has to save the future so that Caitlin doesn't end up in that post-apocalyptic future. However, that's not how the time travel works in this universe. Don't you remember? Future Hero came back to tell Peter Petrelli, save the cheerleaders, save the world. Only for it to be revealed that even in that timeline, she was saved anyway. And it didn't matter. It was still that same timeline. Which means that it doesn't matter if you change the timeline with that future. With the virus, will still happen. It's kind of like, I hate to go to this, the Endgame thing. I kind of like to say it's more like Dragon Ball Z. No matter what you do, Trunks' future stays the same. It's like different parallel futures. So, yes, he changed the future. Now his timeline will change. But Caitlin is still stuck in that timeline with the virus. That won't change around her. It's not like Back to the Future. It's not going to change around her and Einstein. She's stuck in that future and she never comes back into the show. They never bring her up again. They just want us to think she's safe now because people changed the future. But if you're smart, you know that's not how it works. Hell, the beginning of season 3 is a future that's much like the future in season 1. It's close. We'll get to it. But, yeah. So now, I close out this review by saying, do you know how long we had to wait till season 3 came out? It felt like forever. Let me tell you why. It's only 11 episodes. It aired from September to December. That's right. The last episode is aired in late December of 2007. We didn't get season 3 till late September of 2008. Me think, well, that's not that much time. Let me tell you how much time it is. In December of 2007, I was still living with my mom. By September of 2008, I was living here. That's enough time for me to move places? Yes, and I moved in May of that year. So it still was a few months before I moved. And it was a few months after that when it came on. But man, was I so pumped for it to come in. And it was the first one I was able to actually watch completely live. Because, you know, when I first started watching these, there were reruns on G4. And it was this season. The second series I've gotten into during season 2. Supernatural was the other, of course. But yeah, but it still felt like forever. Right? It did. It just, Oh man, I think the season 2 DVD came out in the summer. They didn't wait till the fall to release it because it was so short. It came out, I think, during the summer. I think maybe it was in September of 2000. I don't know. I didn't look it up. If I'm wrong, if I remember to, I'll mention it in the next one. But yeah, it was a long wait, and they made a big deal too when season 3 premiered. Like they had a whole thing before the premiere about talking about the stars and everything. They made a big deal about it coming back. It took so long because of the strike. Yeah, but season 2, like I said, works because it's so short. It moves along at a brisk pace. Everything connects. Oh! I forgot to mention one thing. Nikki! That's right. For those of you ready to type in... Wait, you forgot about... I did not. I did, but not anymore. Nikki. So, Monica... So... Micah's cousin tried to see how much the comic books that he had were worth. The guy stole the entire bag, and it was revealed that DL's Medal of Honor was in that. And so Monica and Micah go to get it back, and Monica gets kidnapped basically. And then she's put in this warehouse and it's set on fire. And Nikki, who was waiting for Mohinder to bring her the cure, ran into the fire to save Monica. She does, but she doesn't have her strength and she dies. Yeah. They didn't have anything to do with the character of Nikki, so they killed her off. Don't worry. Ali Lauder does come back, but it's even more confusing than you think. I forgot about that part. So I if you were watching this when I was ending it and you went, wait a minute, there it is. There it is. Don't type. Keep watching. I did address it. So, season 2. Like I said, I think it works because it goes along at that brisk pace. It works. It comes all together real quick. Yeah. And we shall see what happens in the future in season 3. I'm going to be splitting season 3 into 2 parts to review. That would be for villains and for fugitives. It's just going to be easier for me to talk about if they're in separate volumes to talk about that part and in that part. So those might be quicker than you think, but I'm taking another little break afterwards to watch some YouTube videos, and then whenever I do with those, then I'll start watching that. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on season 2 or volume 2 of Heroes? No comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.